Hello everybody, welcome to this video. So today in this video we'll be discussing on Java and its data types. So when it comes to data types, it's not only linked to Java or any one programming language. So data types are present in all of the programming language. Either you can take, it can be like Python, C++, Kotlin or even Rust. So any of these programming languages which you use, so data types are mandatory. So today we'll be mainly discussing on what is Java and its data types. So let's begin this session. So we'll be discussing on introduction to data types, and we'll be also focusing on the conversion and the typecasting, and we'll be ending this session by knowing about the data types. So first thing, what is Java? So Java is one of the most popular programming languages, which can be like, you can say it is a like quite old programming language, and it was created in the year of 1995, and at present it's owned by the company called Oracle. So you can use Java for various for building various projects such as like mobile application. It can be like for Android apps specifically, and even you can develop some web applications, and even you can become a like full stack Java stack developer using a Java. So, and you might be having a question, so what is this data type? So data type is nothing but it just tells the program that what kind of data we are entering or what kind of data we have assigned. So in the sense, it can be, if you take a number 5, so 5 is an integer type of data, so we declare the type it as an integer. So if you give some decimal value, it can be like 15.4 or 15.83, something like that. So it will become a floating point value. So we will assign the data type with a data type called float. Now let's see the importance of data types in the programming. So data types play a most crucial role in the world of programming. They provide a much accuracy and they provide better efficiency, and data types also provides a program safety and various other features. So now let's dive into this data type thing. So in data types, there are mostly two types, which is primitive data type and a non-primitive data type. So now let's take a look at the classification of the data types. So in the data types, first thing, they are divided into two types. So which will be primitive and non-primitive data types. So this will be the primitive and this will be the non-primitive data types. And these primitive data types, right, they are again divided into two types. So as you can see, we have the first thing, that is numeric. So again we got this numeric divided into int and floating points, and at the same phase we got another thing that is called as non-numeric. So in the non-numeric thing we got characters and booleans, and in the non-primitive thing we got the strings, we have the arrays, and we have the user defined classes. And then we have the primitive data types. So a primitive data type specifies the size and type of a variable. So for instance, if you take the data type that is byte, which can hold only 1 byte of data. So as you can see, we got the size here. So the size of the byte is only 1 byte. And for instance, if you take int, so this int thing, the int data type can store 4 bytes of data. So for instance, we can say that like 4 bytes of data a integer value can be holding. So, and you got the long here. So this long data types can hold 8 bytes, and similarly you got the float, which is have the capacity to have 4 bytes, and similarly we got the double, we got the boolean, and we got the character. So these boolean data types simply doesn't hold any numerical type of data, as we have seen in the previous slide. So you can see we got the boolean, which is a kind of non-numeric data type. So we have the boolean here, so which is a non-numeric. What it says, it just says true or false. So if you have assigned some condition, and if the condition is met, it will assign the value as true. If the condition is not met, it simply assigns the value as false. So there is no other type of data other than the true or false when you use this boolean data type. And so now we have the non-primitive data type. So a non-primitive data types are called as reference data types because they refer to objects. So in the sense, we mostly, for the non-primitive data types, we use classes and arrays. So these classes are like user defined data type for creating some objects, and for example a person class might have attributes like name and age. So, and you can also consider something like arrays, and these are called these are like collection of element for some type. And for instance, you can consider like integer array or even strings. So now we have the Java typecasting. So when it comes to typecasting, you assign a value of one primitive data type to another data type. So in Java, we usually have what's called as widening typecasting, and we also got narrowing typecasting. So now let's take a look on the both. So first thing, widening typecasting. So widening typecasting is done automatically when you pass a smaller size type to a larger size type. So for the easier understanding, let's take two containers. Let it be container A and let it be container B. So this will be A and this will be B. So this container A, which is in the form of byte, will be having a value assigned as 5, and we'll be having an integer data type, so which is in the form of int. Yeah. So now what you can do is, since we are doing a widening typecasting operation, so you can pass a smaller size type to a larger size type. So since the byte is a smaller, so which has the capacity to hold only 1 byte, and int has the capacity to hold 4 bytes. So that is the main reason you can transfer this number 5 to an integer. So since integer can hold like up to 4 bytes of data, you can easily pass the number value, you can easily pass this value 5 to an integer type. So you can not only for like 5, even if you have a number called, it can let it be 6. So let it be 6. So you can also pass this 6, that is a data type, to an integer. So it will be holding it very easily. So now let's explore the example program which we got here. So now let's check out this example program. So we got our int data type here. So we have assigned the value of my int, that is equal to 9. So this 9, which is in the form of integer. So when we come down to the next line, so we got a double data type. So we have assigned a variable named as my double, that is equal to my int. So this my double variable is assigned with a variable called my int. So we got the my int here, that is equal to 9. So in the sense, this value 9, that will be passed to the value, that will be passed to the variable my double. So when we print, here, so we got the my int value. So this will be the my int value here, so which is in the form of int. So that is the main reason we are getting the output as 9. So which is in the form of the integer itself. So now we got the double. So this double can also store like floating point data. So that is the reason we get this value as 9.0. And this is how, guys, widening typecasting works. So now we got the narrowing typecasting. So narrowing casting must be done manually by placing the type in the parentheses in front of the value. So unlike the widening typecasting, which converts the data type automatically, but in the case of narrowing, it's not going to happen. So what this narrowing typecasting does is like, so you can compare it to the same thing like a widening typecasting, but in a reverse way. In widening, where we can assign a smaller data type to a larger data type, in the narrowing, we'll be assigning a larger data type to a smaller data type. So it might be a trickier thing, right? Now let's have a look on this example program. So to begin, we got a variable called as my double. So that is holding a data type in the form of double. So and it is assigned to a value that is 9.78d. So why you have this d here? Because Java can only understand this value is in the form of double only when you assign the value as d at the end of the number. So at the next thing, what we are doing is we have an integer data type, and we called a variable that is called as my int, and we have again called the variable that is my double. So you can see this variable my double here, so which is here. So we have called this variable my double, and we have assigned it in the form of int. So it's very much simple. So if you want to assign a larger data type to a smaller data type, just you open this parenthesis here and you type the data type you want. So either it can be like byte. If you have a byte, you can type here byte, and if you want to convert it to integer type, you can type here the value as int. So now let's head over to the output part. So when we come to the output part, so the value is my double, so the output will be 9.78. So this won't change anything, it will be displaying as the value is assigned. So you got 9.78 here, so the same thing will be printed here in the output section, that will be 9.78. so now since we are converting a larger data type to smaller data type, so that is we are converting a double to int. So when we convert it, so the int can't show the integer data type can't display any floating point values. So all these floating values will be cancelled and will be only displayed with 9. So this is mainly because we are displaying it in the form of integer data type. So this is how the narrowing typecasting works. So that's it guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.